Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a long, detailed statement I'm going to submit, and I'm going to try to summarize the highlighted points in addition to what Senator Vitter has highlighted. First, let me thank you for agreeing to have this hearing to begin the discussion to fix Biggert-Waters, to either repeal it, radically amend it, delay it, because we need help, not only in Louisiana, but in many, many, many places in this country. Not only along the coast, but as we all marked this morning, the tragedy that's unfolding right now in Colorado and what happened most recently in Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey. 12 days from now, FEMA will begin the process of increasing insurance rates on hundreds of thousands of homeowners and small businesses across the United States as a result of legislation that Congress passed without, in my view, full consideration of the potential impact that skyrocketing rates might have on families, small businesses, home sales, property values, local economies, or continued participation in the program. Good intentions to make the program self-sufficient, wholly inadequate data about the loss of affordability to the program, which is hitting us hard, hitting us right away, and devastating to our communities. Both Biggert-Waters and the companion Flood Insurance Reform and Modernization Act that cleared this committee 2 years ago, in my view, were built backwards and upside down. They authorized immediate rate increases on homeowners and businesses that played by the rules, did everything asked of them before they even began to study the impacts these rate increases would have on affordability. Let me mention two things about affordability. One, when this bill was debated in the House last year, there was an amendment offered by a member of the House that was voted down by voice vote that would have required at least some vouchers for low-income and middle-income families that are going to be affected not only in Louisiana but Massachusetts. But let me say, for the record, middle-income families, even some at the high end of the middle class, are going to have a hard time accepting the new rules and regulations coming from this bill. 17.4 million households live in special flood hazard areas where flood insurance is mandatory. But the question is, how many are going to, Senator Tester, be living in areas that are not special flood hazard but will flood, have flooded, can flooded, and flood insurance is not mandatory, but they're going to be facing some rate increases as well. Let me talk about the home trigger sale, which is very important. One, and this was in both bills, one of the most problematic provisions in Biggert-Waters in both bills is the requirement that under Section 205, any property purchased after July 6th of last year will immediately lose its entire subsidy on the act of sale, penalizing homeowners who are buying these homes that had no way of knowing it, but more importantly, in my view, penalizing the homeowners themselves who, without the ability to sell their homes now after July 6th, without losing a substantial amount of their entire life equity. Okay, I want to get us beyond premium increases into the fact that when you lose your subsidy on your home, which is your largest asset, you basically lose the majority of your wealth accumulated over a lifetime because of this bill. It was premature. It was not well thought out. It must be fixed. Two of my constituents, Penny and David Boquillo, bought a home in Baton Rouge on August 23rd. They were told they would maintain the seller's flood insurance at $650 a year. 1 week later, on August 30th, they received a letter notifying them it would go up 400% to $2,500. That's an example of what happens to homeowners. But basically, many of our folks are just saying they can't put their homes for sale. They have no value. All right, the catastrophic flood losses that occurred, and I want to submit this for the detail and thank Michelle Claudet, who's the president of Terrebonne, for bringing this to my attention. I kept hearing and hearing the program is underwater, underwater, underwater by $20 billion. I just assumed I should have looked. The truth of the matter is that before Katrina, this program was fairly actuarially sound, and you can look at the numbers yourself. What sticks out is at Katrina, it was a $16 billion hit to this program. Katrina was the biggest natural disaster ever to hit the United States in the history of our country. It rocked everything. So what we did was we took this outlier year, $16 billion, and then reflected that loss I think prematurely forward and created a program that is now not self-sustainable, not affordable to even middle-class families, businesses, and we've got to fix it. Now, maybe FEMA, in closing, maybe FEMA can do some things to delay it. I hope they can find a way. I am very frustrated with them, as Senator Vitter is, for not finishing their affordability study. They say you all didn't give them enough money, $750,000. They needed more time. They needed more money. I don't buy that excuse. But anyway, there was no affordability study done. I'm going to put the rest of my comments into the record. But we've got to, push back, reform, repeal this flood insurance, get a better approach that works not just for Louisiana, the Gulf Coast, and coastal, but for everyone in the country. Whoever was to blame, let's forget about that, but let's move on together to try to fix it. And I know this committee had good intentions. Believe me, I've been here long enough to know the members on this committee on both sides. But we made a mistake, and we've got to fix it. And I wish it could be fixed administratively. Maybe it can, but I think it may need some action by this committee. And Chairman Merkley and Senator Tester, I'm so grateful, and Mr. Heller, Senator Heller, for your at least openness to consider some of the testimony you're going to hear today. Thank you so much.